You hear about it, you see it happen to others, but when it's you, it feels unreal. Like your brain refuses to accept what's in front of you. That's where I am. My name is Mike. I'm 34, a software engineer, and I've been married to Emily for 7 years. It wasn't a perfect marriage, but I thought it was a strong one. We had a good life. Nice house, steady jobs, weekend trips to new restaurants, binge-watching TV shows together. All the little routines that make up a shared life. But lately, something has changed. Emily has always been someone who forgets where she puts her phone. It would be on the kitchen counter, the nightstand, the couch. She never cared about it much. But in the last few months, it has become an extension of her hand. She takes it everywhere, even to the bathroom. If she's texting, she angles the screen away from me. And then there's the smiling. She used to be a serious person, always thinking, always planning. Lately, she's been glowing, laughing at her phone like a teenager with a crush. I'd ask what was so funny, and she'd just say, "Oh, just a meme," and flip the screen down. That was the first red flag. Then she started going out more. Emily has never been a girls' night person. She had friends, but she preferred movie nights at home, ordering takeout and drinking wine on our couch. Now, she's constantly meeting up with friends after work, heading out on weekends, coming home late. One night, I asked if I could tag along. She hesitated, just for a second, but I caught it. Then she smiled and said, "It's just a girl's thing. You wouldn't have fun." Maybe I should have confronted her right then, but I didn't want to be that guy, the paranoid husband. So I let it go. Until I saw her phone. It was a regular Tuesday night. Emily was in the shower, and she had left her phone on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up with a notification. My eyes flicked to it automatically. It was from a dating app. I froze. It wasn't an unknown number or a message from a suspicious name. It was an actual notification from a dating app. My stomach dropped. My brain went to war with itself. Maybe it was an old account. Maybe it was a spam message. Maybe I was seeing things. I didn't open it. I just stood there, staring at her phone like it had just whispered a secret to me. My hands were shaking. When I heard the water turn off, I walked away like nothing happened. But the thought was in my head now, and there was no getting rid of it. I needed to know. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while Emily slept next to me. My mind was racing. If she was on a dating app, that meant she was looking for someone. And if she was looking for someone, she wasn't just out with friends. I could confront her. I could ask to see her phone. But if she was really cheating, she'd just lie. I needed proof. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I made a fake profile. His name was Jason. He was 36, an athletic entrepreneur. I used a photo of some fitness model I found on a stock image website, someone handsome but not famous. I carefully built his profile, making sure it seemed real. Then I started searching. It took 3 days. On the 4th day, I found her. There she was. Emily, my wife. Her profile picture wasn't scandalous, just a regular selfie. But it was the bio that made my blood run cold. Married, but looking for adventure. That was it. That was all she wrote. But it was enough. My hands clenched into fists. I stared at the screen, willing the words to change, to make sense in a way that didn't mean what I knew they meant. But they didn't. It was real. I put my phone down and just sat there, staring at nothing. I felt everything at once. Rage, heartbreak, humiliation. 7 years of marriage, just tossed aside for a thrill. The next step was obvious. I had to message her. I crafted the perfect opener. Something casual, something that would make her take the next step. If she ignored it, maybe there was still a chance this was some kind of mistake. She didn't ignore it. She replied in 10 minutes. "Hey, Jason, what kind of adventure are you looking for?" I stared at the message for a long time. There it was. No hesitation. No guilt. Just excitement. I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced my fingers to type. "I guess that depends. What kind of adventure do you have in mind?" Her response came fast. Something exciting. Something different. No strings attached. My heart pounded. It was her. My wife. Talking to me like she was single. Like I was just some guy she was flirting with. I could barely see straight, but I kept going. I needed more. So I played along. For the next 3 days, I became Jason. I flirted with my wife. I listened as she told me about how complicated her marriage was, how she wanted more, how she was missing passion. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but I needed to know. On the third day, she suggested we meet. There's a little hotel outside the city. Very private. Are you up for it? And just like that, my marriage was over. She was willing to do it. No hesitation. No guilt. She had planned for this. I felt sick. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I should have confronted her then. I should have kicked her out of the house, thrown her stuff on the lawn. But I didn't. Because I wanted her to go through with it. I needed more. So I typed out a response, keeping my hands steady even though my entire world felt like it was shaking beneath me. I'd love to, but I'm out of town for a while. Work trip, but I can't stop thinking about you. A pause. Then the three little dots appeared. She was typing. That's a shame. I was really looking forward to it. I clenched my jaw. Me too. But that just means we have more time to build the anticipation, doesn't it? She sent back a winking emoji, followed by, I like that. And just like that, she was hooked. I told myself I'd wait 1 week. Just long enough to get confirmation that this wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. That she wasn't caught up in some temporary fantasy. That this was deliberate. Intentional. But 1 week turned into 2. And in those 2 weeks, my marriage unraveled message by message. It started slowly at first. She would message Jason in the mornings, saying things like, woke up thinking about you, or wish I could see you today. I would wait before responding, keeping it casual, letting her take the lead. And she did. The messages became more frequent. She started opening up in ways she never had with me. She talked about her life, about how things at home felt stale, how she wanted more excitement. She never mentioned my name, never said anything outright cruel, but I could read between the lines. She was bored with me. She craved something else, something new. And Jason, her perfect fantasy, was giving it to her. One night, she sent a message that made my stomach drop. I've never told anyone this before, but I have these fantasies, things I've always wanted to try but never have. I hesitated before replying. Tell me. And she did. She wrote paragraphs. Long, detailed descriptions of the things she wanted to do. I read every word in silence, my fingers gripping the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. 7 years of marriage, and I had never heard her talk like this. She had never shared these thoughts with me. I should have stopped there. I should have put the phone down, ended this entire game, confronted her. But I didn't. Because the truth was, I wasn't just collecting proof anymore. I wanted to know exactly how far she would go. So I played along. I told her how incredible she was. How much I wanted to make those fantasies come true. How I imagined her in all the ways she described. And she ate it up. She responded with pictures. Not her face, but enough. Enough to make my blood turn to ice. These weren't just playful, teasing photos. They were deliberate. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. There was no doubt anymore. No question. Emily wasn't just thinking about cheating. She was living it. Every message, every picture, every confession. She was already in an affair. She was gone. I don't know how I managed to look at her the same way after that. Every morning, she would wake up next to me, stretch, yawn, kiss me on the cheek like nothing had changed. She would sit across from me at the breakfast table, scrolling on her phone, probably waiting for a message from Jason. Sometimes I would catch her smiling at the screen, that same glow I had noticed before. It made me sick, but I played my role. I asked about her day. I kissed her before I left for work. I told her I loved her, and she lied to my face. One night, I watched her as she sat curled up on the couch, her phone in her hands. I knew exactly what she was doing. She was texting me, thinking I was him, pushing further. The conversations became even deeper. She started talking about when we would meet, not just if. She started asking Jason about his life, about what he liked, about what kind of man he was. I made him perfect. Everything she wanted, everything she wished I was. Jason became that. And she fell for him completely. I think about you all the time, she wrote one night. I wish I had met you before. That one hurt. I stared at the words for a long time. I wanted to ask her, before what? Before me? Before our marriage? Before the life we built together? But Jason wouldn't ask that. So instead, I wrote, maybe we were meant to meet now. And she replied, I think so too. I had to set my phone down after that. I couldn't look at it anymore. Emily wasn't just cheating. She was replacing me. I was still in the house, still in her life, but she was already moving on. And the worst part? She didn't feel guilty. 2 weeks. That's how long I had let this go on. 2 weeks of messages, confessions, and photos. 2 weeks of watching Emily fall deeper into an affair she thought she was having with a stranger. 2 weeks of sitting across from her at the dinner table, knowing she was waiting for Jason's next text. And now, it had come to this. Let's finally do it, she had written the night before. I can't wait any longer. Friday night. I'll say I'm going out with a friend. There's a hotel, very private. Meet me at the bar first? This was it. No more playing games. No more collecting proof. I stared at the message for a long time before typing my response. I'll be there. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? My wife had just made plans to betray me in the most deliberate way possible. No hesitation. No guilt. Just excitement. Friday felt surreal. Emily went about her day as if nothing was wrong. She hummed while getting dressed in the morning. She kissed me goodbye before leaving for work. And all I could do was watch. I took the day off and started planning. I booked a room at the same hotel she had chosen. Not just any room, the one next to hers. I spent hours setting up small cameras, making sure they were hidden in places where they could capture everything. I didn't want just proof anymore. I wanted her reaction. I needed to see it. Once the setup was done, I went home early. Emily was already getting ready. She spent extra time on her hair. She wore perfume, not the one she usually wore around me. A scent I didn't recognize. Her dress was one I hadn't seen in months, maybe years. Low-cut, form-fitting. The kind of dress she never wore for our date nights anymore. I sat on the bed and watched as she applied her lipstick in the mirror. She was glowing. She was excited. Not nervous. Not hesitant. Excited. You look nice, I said. She turned and smiled at me. A real, genuine smile. The kind I hadn't seen in a long time. Thanks, she said, grabbing her purse. I won't be too late. Don't wait up. I forced a smile. Have fun. And then she was gone. I arrived at the hotel 30 minutes early. I sat at the bar, my phone in my hand, my mind racing. What would she do when she saw me? Would she try to lie? Would she run? Would she cry? I didn't know. And I wasn't sure which reaction I wanted. I ordered a drink but didn't touch it. My hands were steady. My heart was calm. But my mind was anything but. Then, at exactly 8 p.m., she walked in. She hadn't seen me yet. She moved through the room gracefully, scanning the bar, looking for him. Her shoulders were back, her eyes bright, her lips slightly parted in anticipation. She looked happy. Happy in a way I hadn't seen in years. I gripped my phone tighter. Then her eyes landed on me. Everything froze. For a split second, I saw confusion. Then, horror. Her face changed so fast it was almost comical, from excitement to realization to absolute fear. She stopped breathing. I lifted my phone, pressing record. Have a nice evening, Emily. I kept my voice calm, steady. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her hands trembled as they clutched her purse. I could see it in her eyes. Her brain was racing, trying to find a way out, a way to fix this. I waited. She swallowed hard, her voice shaky. Mike, I can explain. I stood up. I didn't let her finish. I didn't need to hear her lies. I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, alone, in the middle of the bar. I made my way up to the hotel room. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, staring at the screen. The video was still recording. Her reaction. Her face. The exact moment she realized her world had collapsed. I exhaled slowly, then uploaded everything, the messages, the photos, and the video, to a shared folder. I sent the link to 4 people. My parents, my best friend, my brother. Then, I turned off my phone and waited. It didn't take long. The first call came within minutes. Then another. Then a flood of messages. And Emily? I had no doubt her phone was ringing too. She had no idea what was coming next. I decided to leave the hotel that evening. I don't remember the drive home. I must have been on autopilot, hands gripping the wheel, mind stuck in an endless loop of what had just happened. Emily's face at the bar, the shock, the fear, the desperation, played over and over in my head. For 2 weeks, I had known the truth. For 2 weeks, I had watched my wife turn into someone else, someone capable of lying to my face while planning to betray me. But seeing it unfold in real time, seeing the exact moment she realized her life had just shattered, that was different. I should have felt satisfied. I should have felt some kind of relief. But I didn't. I just felt done. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw her car already there. The house was dark except for the faint glow coming from the living room window. She was waiting for me. Of course she was. The second I stepped inside, I heard her sniffling. Emily was sitting on the couch, her arms wrapped around herself. She had changed out of the dress, now in one of her old, oversized sweaters, the same kind she used to wear when we'd cuddle on the couch during movie nights. Her makeup was smudged, her eyes red and swollen. She had been crying. I closed the door behind me. She flinched at the sound. "Mike." Her voice was small, barely above a whisper. "Please, can we talk?" I didn't answer. I just walked past her, heading for the bedroom. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of a conversation, not tonight. But she wasn't done. She jumped up, rushing after me, grabbing my arm with both hands. "Please, Mike." It wasn't real. It was just flirting. I wasn't actually going to. I pulled my arm free, turning to look at her. "Just flirting?" I repeated, my voice eerily calm. Her lip quivered. I pulled out my phone, opened the shared folder, and scrolled through the messages. The photos. The details. Then, I played the video of her reaction at the bar. She went pale. Her hands covered her mouth. Flirting? I repeated again. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I swear, Mike, it didn't mean anything. It was just exciting. I got caught up in it, but I never actually—" "You never actually what, Emily?" My voice was even, controlled. "Never actually went through with it? Because you never got the chance?" She froze. That was it. That was the truth. If Jason had been real, if I hadn't been the one behind the screen, she would have gone through with it. No hesitation. No guilt. I watched as the realization hit her. Her knees gave out. She dropped onto the floor, sobbing, clutching at my legs like a desperate child. "Please, Mike. Please. We can fix this. I love you. I never stopped loving you." I didn't move. I didn't care. Whatever love I had for her had been burned away the second she sent that first message. "We're done, Emily." She gasped. I turned, walked into the bedroom, and shut the door behind me. The next morning, I didn't say a word to her. I got up early, grabbed my laptop, and sent everything to my lawyer. The texts, the photos, the video. It was all going into the divorce proceedings. By noon, I had already filed the papers. By evening, she had been served. Emily tried everything. She begged. She pleaded. She called her friends, her family, my family, anyone who would listen. But no one was on her side. Not after they saw the proof. Not after they watched the video. Her own parents called me in tears, apologizing for what their daughter had done. They offered to talk to her, to help with whatever I needed. I told them I didn't need anything. Emily was not my problem anymore. She loses everything. I had planned for this. The day I saw her profile on the dating app, I had started protecting myself. The house? It was in my name. The savings? Most of it was in my private account. Her name wasn't on the lease for the car. By the time the divorce was finalized, Emily had nothing. No home, no money, just regret. I heard from mutual friends that she was living with a cousin now, bouncing between couches, struggling to find a job. She had destroyed everything for a fantasy. And in the end, she was left with nothing but reality. A few months later, I was finally okay. The anger had faded. The sadness had dulled. And then, one night, my phone blew up. I didn't recognize the number, but the message was simple. "Dude, you're famous." Confused, I clicked the link they had sent me. It was a video. My video. The footage of Emily at the bar. The moment she realized her world had collapsed. had gone viral. Someone I had sent it to must have shared it. It had spread like wildfire. People were commenting, making memes, breaking down every second of her reaction like it was a movie scene. I watched in stunned silence. And then, I laughed. Really laughed. For the first time in months, I felt light. Because for once, Emily's betrayal wasn't weighing me down. It was just a story now, and I was free. But my fun didn't last long. Because Emily called. I was sitting on my couch, scrolling through messages from friends, sending me links to different versions of the video. Some had dramatic music added. Others had captions like "caught in 4K" and "watch her soul leave her body." It was hilarious. Then my phone rang. I didn't even have to look at the screen. I knew it was her. I sighed, debating whether to answer. I could ignore it, let it go to voicemail. But a part of me was curious. So I picked up. "Mike." Emily's voice was frantic, high-pitched, laced with anger and panic. "What did you do?" I leaned back, keeping my voice calm. "What are you talking about?" "The video? It's everywhere. My coworkers have seen it. My family has seen it. Even people from my college reached out to ask me if it was real. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is?" I didn't even blink. "Sounds rough," I said. "Sounds?" "Mike, this is your fault. You filmed it. You ruined my life." I let out a short laugh. "I didn't post it, Emily. And let's be real. You ruined your own life." She was breathing hard on the other end. I could practically hear her shaking with rage. "I should sue you," she spat. That actually made me laugh. "For what? You got caught cheating? Pretty sure that's not illegal." "I didn't cheat," she screeched. Emily." I cut her off, my patience wearing thin. "You set up a date at a hotel with a guy you met on a dating app. You sent messages, pictures. You were ready to go through with it. The only reason you didn't is because I was the one behind the screen. So don't give me that I didn't cheat nonsense." Silence. For the first time in the conversation, she had nothing to say. I continued. "You don't like that the world knows? That's not my problem. You did this to yourself." "I'll still sue," she muttered. "Watch me." "Good luck with that," I said before hanging up. And that was that. True to her word, Emily actually tried to take me to court. She must have found some second-rate lawyer who told her she had a case, because a few weeks later, I got a notice. She was suing me for defamation and invasion of privacy. I called my own lawyer, who practically laughed when I told him. "She's got nothing, Mike," he assured me. "First of all, you didn't upload the video. Second, everything in it is factual. Third, she was in a public place. There's no expectation of privacy at a bar." Sure enough, Emily's case didn't last long. Her lawyer tried to argue that my recording had damaged her reputation. My lawyer countered with, she damaged her own reputation by trying to cheat on her husband. It took one hearing for the judge to dismiss the case entirely. Emily lost. Again. I expected her to reach out after that. Maybe another angry call. Maybe another round of "you ruined my life, Mike." But she didn't. Instead, she disappeared. I didn't hear from her again, and that was fine by me. A few months passed. I had fully moved on. I was working out more, hanging out with friends, even going on a few casual dates. Life felt normal again. Then, one day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Hello?" I answered. "Mike?" The voice was female, familiar but unexpected. "This is Julie." Julie, Emily's best friend. I sat up. I hadn't spoken to her since the divorce. "Hey," I said cautiously. "I was wondering if we could meet up," she said quickly. "Just for coffee or something. I want to talk." At first, I almost said no. I figured she wanted to defend Emily, to say I had been too harsh, that I should have kept the whole thing private. "Julie, if this is about Emily." "It's not," she cut in. "Trust me. I haven't spoken to her in months. I have something I want to tell you." That got my attention. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe downtown. When I walked in, I spotted her immediately. She looked the same. Long dark hair, sharp eyes, the kind of presence that made her stand out in a room. But there was something different about her, too. She looked relieved, like she had let go of something. We ordered coffee, made some small talk. Then she got to the point. "I uploaded the video. I blinked. What? She sighed. I know it wasn't my business, but when I found out what she did to you, I was furious. I couldn't believe it. She spent years acting like she had the perfect marriage, like she was better than everyone else. And then she does that? It made me sick. I stared at her. You posted it? I didn't think it would go viral, she admitted. I just wanted people to know what she did. I wanted her to understand that actions have consequences. She paused, then sighed. I know I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry, but honestly, I don't regret it. I leaned back in my chair, processing everything. Then I chuckled. Don't apologize, I said. If anything, I should be thanking you. She grinned. So you're not mad? Mad? Julie, you gave me the best revenge I could have asked for. We laughed, and for the first time in a long time, I felt good. Something new. That meeting with Julie didn't end there. A week later, she texted me. A few days after that, she asked me out again. But this time, she called it a date. I hesitated at first, wondering if it was a bad idea. But then I thought about the way we had talked, the way she had stood up for me when even my own wife hadn't. So I said yes. We went to a nice restaurant, had great food, shared even better conversation, and at the end of the night, when she kissed me, I didn't think about Emily at all, because that night was the start of something real.